What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me, as always. NFL Week 10 in the books. Eagles catch an L last night on Monday Night Football. We'll talk about that, man. Then we got, of course, Josh Allen leads the league in turnovers, or interceptions, I should say, over the last 2 years. Has thrown 6 picks in the last 3 weeks. We're going to talk about that. He threw a couple bad picks in an epic game against the Vikings. We'll break that down. And then we'll talk about our non-quarterback MVP. Who is it? Is it Chubb? Is it Jefferson? We'll go into that, break that down. Then we'll move over to the NBA. The West, top 3 teams in the West are the Portland Trailblazers, the Denver Nuggets, and the Utah Jazz. We'll go into that, how big of a surprise that is, talk about those guys and how well they've been playing. Then we'll talk about I want to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. That works. I was worried about that coming in. DeJounte Murray's been playing really well.
I'm not going to lie, for a second, I thought you were going to talk about the Blackhawks. I was like, hold on. I wasn't ready for this.
No hockey talk. I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks, Trey Young and the boys. And then we'll wrap it up with any other NBA stuff that is going on. But you already know what time it is. Stay with us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We're here.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick. What's good?
How we feeling, man? Summer's officially in the books in Chicago, man.
I heard it snowed out there.
Last week it was 70 degrees. This week it's snowing, man. It's over. I hope everybody enjoyed the extra 2.5 months. It was nice to have the extra 2.5 months, but I think it's about that time. So you guys didn't catch any snow out there?
Nah, man, it's been actually really warm out here, dog.
Yeah.
It was cold for the first day, for real. Yesterday it was like 45 or something like that, but
yeah,
it still isn't too bad from
it doesn't get as bad out there as it does in Chicago, right? Like
the
extremeness.
It really doesn't. It doesn't get as bad. It's nowhere close to like how it is out in the Chi. It can't get in the Chi. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you know how it goes.
It's all good.
It's all good. It's light, man. I'm talking about the weather, man.
It is what it is, man.
The weather
it comes and it goes every year.
It comes and it goes. And so do undefeated seasons. We had a question on the Betting Exchange, a show that I do daily on MSG Networks. Go check it out, 5:30 Eastern. When was the Eagles' first L going to come? And I was like, man, I don't know, bro. I think it's coming like against Dallas in week 16. Like that's how confident I was about, what Philly was doing, how they've been playing.
Or the Christmas game, the Christmas Eve game?
I think it might have been like the Christmas Eve game. Yeah. Something like that. But like week 16 is what I picked out. And it came last night against the Taylor Heineke-led Washington Commanders. We were talking about the game a little bit back and forth. Going into the game, the only weakness the Eagles have, because they're the most balanced team in the NFL, is their run defense is poor. It's not very good. That's what their heel is. Their Achilles heel. Am I saying that right? That's
Achilles heel. Yeah.
Achilles heel. Yeah. I don't know why. I was like, man, I'm tripping right now. Yeah, no, their Achilles heel is their run defense.
I got you.
27th in DVOA on the rush defense side. They gave up 49 for, I believe, 150 or 163 last night. I'll double check that, but
49 for 152.
Yeah, 49 for 152. I said going into the game, if they wanted to compete with those boys, they had to run it. And the funny part is their weakness was the run.
Yeah.
Washington. So it was like, I don't care if that's your weakness. You got to stick to it because you have to give less possessions to Jalen Hurts than those guys.
That's the weakness on the field. Off the field is a whole other story as far as Commanders and what's going on over there. But we'll leave that where it is.
We'll leave that where it is.
Shout out the District of Columbia.
Yes, exactly. So
what a wild situation.
Brian Robinson Jr., 26 carries. Antonio Gibson had 14 carries. I mean, it's crazy.
You know what stands out to me about that real quick, just on the running the ball? So it's 49 for 152, which breaks down to 3 yards a carry, which is absolutely nothing to write home about. Yeah. But if you're Ron Rivera, you talk about committing to the run. That is committing to running the football. I don't care if I'm picking up 3 yards every time I tote this. I mean, their longest run on the game was 11 yards. So 3 yards per carry. I don't care if that's what we're doing. I'm still running this bitch 49 times because I know that eventually something's got to give. And that even if you're stopping them, look, running the ball like that, we talk about all the time. It wears down the defense. Nobody wants to face 49 rushes. No defense on earth. And that's what leads to, time of possession, different things like that. And that's how they end up winning that ball game.
Well, the secondary, when your quarterback's Taylor Heinicke, who's been playing really solid.
40 minutes time of possession for the you want to call them the Skins, for the Commanders versus 19 minutes for the Eagles. Can't win if you don't have the ball.
You can't give Jalen Hurts and those guys the ball on offense because you want to talk about getting grinded down.
Yeah.
That's who will grind you down on offense. So they did a really good job not getting the ball or not keeping the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands and letting Heinicke and those guys throw it off play action. McLaurin played really well as well. He had 8 catches for like 140, 149 nice. Or something like that.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about I'm shocked that anyone that has 2 eyeballs is talking about the Commanders potentially going back to Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and I think that's crazy too. First off, it's not like Wentz was playing lights out when he was playing for them, right? And they were winning ball games. If you remember, Rivera threw him under the bus right before he got hurt and said the problem with the team is the quarterback. So again, it's not like anybody over there was like, "Oh yeah, Carson Wentz is the man." He was playing well, and it's unfortunate he got hurt. He was not playing well. He was doing Carson Wentz things. He was turning the ball over left and right. They got the lucky win against the Bears. Outside of that, Wentz wasn't really doing anything. And we've been saying here on this show for 2 years that Taylor Heinicke is a fine quarterback. He's not going to light the world on fire. He's not someone that, will look 5 years from now and be like, oh, yeah, he's the man. But as far as, look, with some of the quarterback play that we see week in and week out and that we have seen over the last couple of years and some of these guys that you continue to see under center, Taylor Heinicke is fine. You can win ball games with Taylor Heinicke. They have shown you can win ball games with Taylor Heinicke. And if you look at it, and this is why I replied to your tweet yesterday, the team is behind him. The guys love Taylor Heinicke. Like when they get wins, they're big up in Taylor. He's fired up. He's doing the fist pump. He's celebrating after the roughing the passer call. He's drinking Busch Light on the plane. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that. He was
They did the same thing they did with Kirk last week with the chains and all that. They did it with Heinicke, but Heinicke, dog, you got to see this video. I should have sent it to you. I thought you had seen it.
No, I didn't see that.
He's drinking beers on the plane. He's drinking Busch Light, and next to him he has one of those those little like igloo coolers, little soft pouch ones, and it has like 6 Busch Lights in it. And he's drinking one on the plane. So like obviously he's a real ass dude. You know what I mean? He's drinking Busch, but no, the guys are behind him, and it should not be a conversation at all. And if you're them, why would you even go back to Wentz? It's not like you're planning on him being your guy next year. Like there's no way you're moving forward with Carson Wentz next year. The only reason I could see them going back is that Rivera's like an old school guy, doesn't lose his job to injuries type guy. You know what I mean? But listen, man, the results on the field are different. And now you're in the hunt. You're 5-5.
Yeah, no, man, we're not going back to Buddy. Why would we do that? Can we hold on? I tweeted this as well. Taylor Heinicke has some like really fun wins on his resume.
Like
he goes up to Philly. Right? He goes up to Philly and beats an undefeated Philadelphia team who had their best start of all time at 8-0. He was in Green Bay. Or not in Green Bay, but he beat Aaron Rodgers last week.
2 weeks.
Or maybe that was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Doesn't he have a playoff win against Tom Brady?
I don't know if they won that, but I know he started a playoff game.
He did
last year. Sure. Last year he started a playoff game.
No, look that up for me. He has a win against Tom Brady, I think. Where I might have just made up that it was in the playoffs, but he has a win against Tom Brady.
Sure.
That was like he's winning the games that he has no business even competing in.
Absolutely.
And it's a team game, and I understand that. Look that up for me on who, if it was him.
No, they lost 31-23, but Heinicke threw for 306 yards, had a touchdown, and now they ran for another touchdown on 26 of 44 passes.
Against Brady, though.
He's a gamer, man.
Yeah,
like the guy's a fucking gamer. Like I like him, man. I like Heinicke.
He has that face from like the 1950s.
Yes.
Like he
ugly as shit.
If you look at it,
he's got a coal miner's face. He's got that, like you would have seen it in one of those old pictures with dust all over his face pushing a wheelbarrow.
If you look at Taylor Heinicke's grill, he looks like he should have the helmet on with no face mask.
He looks like he drinks Busch Light on the plane.
wearing like the tucked in old jersey with holding the leather rock with no laces on it type dude.
When
it's
I seen him with
really
the bush,
funny.
when I seen him with the bush and the igloo cooler, I was like, this guy's different, man. Like I could tell the guys get behind him. But no, man, like, yeah, face jokes aside, like, dude's a gamer, man. And he's tough. Like, obviously, nothing that they do is pretty. That team doesn't have enough talent to grind out pretty wins. But man, he makes big play after big play. He makes plays when they matter. I forget which game it was. It might have been the Green Bay game or one of their other wins that they had. And I think you and I were texting. We're just like, yo, this guy's just making plays down the stretch. He's fine. Yeah. Like, he's fine. You know what I mean? So, like, for a team like that, who obviously needs to find a long-term solution at quarterback within the next year or two, why not stick with him? Why would you go back to Wentz? Again, it's not like Wentz was playing well. It's not like Wentz inspires confidence in his teammates. That's always been an issue with Wentz. And also, look, if you are in the hunt at 5-5, you're not out of this thing yet. It's not like Wentz is a good pressure quarterback either. All we've seen is Wentz fold under pressure. So, yeah, stick with this guy, Heineke. The boys are behind him. Shout out Ron Rivera. I've been saying, I told you earlier on in the year, Ron Rivera is a professional.
Yeah. He's
professional.
He's an 8-win, 9-win guy for sure.
In a terrible situation like that, which again, if you just Google Washington Commanders, if you've been under a rock the last week, or really the last couple of years with this team, like, they need some professionalism on the football field. They're going to play hard for that guy. They're going to grind out wins. And yeah, man, I thought the game plan was excellent. But yeah, no reason you should even consider going to You shouldn't even dress Carson Wentz so that there's no thought of being tempted to play him.
For real.
But he's a fucking guy's a cancer, dude. He sucks.
Yo, I was talking about this with my guy EC. Think about the stuff that has happened since the Colts and Carson Wentz lose that game to the Jags and don't make the playoffs. Because if you go back and look at Carson's numbers, they're not that bad. He didn't have that bad of a year. He just got in spots where he folded up like Carson Wentz has done throughout his career. But think about this. He couldn't beat
Jacksonville at home to get to the playoffs. Think about this.
If they don't lose, if they beat the Jags, they get into the playoffs. Who knows if they win a playoff game after that, whatever. But he's still in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. Frank Reich probably still has a job. They never go get Matt Ryan.
We're watching Jeff Saturday today on Get Up.
We're watching Jeff Saturday today on Get Up. That whole situation is crazy. Like, who knows who ends up playing quarterback for the Commanders because they don't go and get Wentz. The domino effect that happened after that loss against the Jags to get into the playoffs is kind of wild.
Take it back further than that. He is a domino effect guy. Go back to Philadelphia. He's in the middle of an MVP year. He gets hurt. Foles comes in, steps in, wins the Super Bowl, right? Next year, Wentz gets hurt again. Foles comes back in. They end up drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round as an insurance policy for Carson Wentz.
Wow.
Carson Wentz doesn't play well. They go to Hurts, never go back to Wentz, can decide to stick with Jalen Hurts, and now Jalen Hurts is an MVP candidate. So you can go back for a while with Carson Wentz. I even think him coming in with some what if shit. If I don't recall, wasn't Vic there when they drafted him? Who knows? I mean, you can go back, but it's like situations get better when he's not around, except for the Colts thing. The Colts is obviously a dumpster fire in general, but yeah, man, get that guy out of there, man. And look, he sucks. Like,
and the other thing is he's not that good. Yeah,
he's just not good.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's switch over to Josh Allen because this is my guy. My bad, my eyes are watering. But this is my guy. I love Josh Allen. I think he is sensational, but he has had bad few weeks. Like, let's just keep it 100. The last 3 weeks, he's had 6 picks. He's turning the ball over. And the one thing I do want to highlight is I know we think this guy is Terminator and he's a tank. He is taking too many hits. I'm going to tell you right now, no one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about him turning the ball over. This dude takes way too many shots and is too reckless with his body. That's the bottom line.
You see him trying to tackle with this injured shoulder the other day?
He's throwing, and then when he's throwing interceptions, he's trying to make like big hits on the return. Yeah. It's like, relax a little bit, big dog. Like, I know you want to make every play. Would you say that's the issue? He's just taking on too much, trying to make every single play. every single drive because that's what he feels like needs to be done.
Someone, man, who was it? I want to say it was maybe Orlovsky yesterday was talking about, and they say with him, you got to have this conversation. You got to tell him to kind of take it back a little bit, but you don't want to go too far because that's what makes him who he is.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That belief, that confidence, that ability to say, hey, I can make any throw. It's almost like Mahomes, right? But you don't really see Mahomes make these kind of mistakes. Man, the hit shit 100%. He has to learn how to slide. I've
never seen him slide. He doesn't slide.
And I get that he's the biggest dude out there, but I put this in the group chat the other day. He needs to look at some Cam Newton film. Cam Newton was also the biggest guy out there. But by year 8, 9, his body was completely done. And now he's out the league at like age 32. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, you might be the biggest dude out there, but those dudes on defense are big and fast and strong too. And when they get an opportunity to hit you, they're 100%, they're going to light you up. You're the quarterback. You're a target. You cannot be taking shots like that, especially when you're already injured. So, yeah, 100%, that's a major issue. The forcing it, definitely a major issue. I forget which pick it was on Sunday, but one of those was absolutely egregious. The
final one.
And this team in the second half, they're not a good second half team. Like, they can jump out early on you, but in the second half, they fall apart. And you've seen it now for, 3 weeks in a row?
Well, the defense is banged up really badly. The secondary is in shambles. We get that. Both their safeties have missed significant time all year. They're still putting up points.
The fumble in the red zone.
The fumble in the red zone. The drop the snap. There's a lot. I mean, he hasn't been playing really well. He's been turning it over, and he's said that. I don't know if I have any conversations with him. I just say, he knows what he has. I don't know. It's a tough. I don't know, because like you said, I wouldn't have any conversations because I don't want him to start altering the way he plays the game. But Orlovsky made a really good point on Get Up. On that last pick to Pat Peterson, he stepped up in the pocket and he kind of pumps and reloads. And the reason Orlovsky was saying that he pumped was because it's like he knew he wasn't supposed to be throwing that ball. Yeah. He needs to start taking a check down in those types of spots. So his instincts are there. He's just trying to force it. But I don't know, man. I don't know how you ask a guy who does everything for you to not try to do stuff. So he's been tumbling on the MVP ladder. Our guy Eli got him at the top of the board. The week before he turned his elbow. Our guy Eli, shout out our boy EJ, locked it in for the MVP. But right now he's plus 500. Tua's plus 500. Jalen's plus 600. Lamar's plus 1,200.
Tua's surge is crazy.
Patrick Mahomes is the leader at plus 120. Yeah, 2-9. Sufficient.
Look, well, and also in that situation though, man, like, I don't know. I mean, you're in field goal range. Like, you got to take care of the football there. Like, you can't turn the ball over in that situation. So yeah, I get where you're like, hey, we don't want to. You don't got to have a conversation where you're trying to tell them like, hey man, we don't want you to be you. But you also got to have the conversation where like, look, man, when you're in that situation, who said it? When you're in the red zone, it's either touchdown or check down.
Touchdowns or check
downs. You know what I mean? So you can't throw red zone interceptions. And remember, that was his thing. For a while, he was like the greatest red zone quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Last year.
Yeah. The greatest red zone quarterback in the history of the NFL. So you can't make those mistakes there. So like, yeah, it is check down or touchdown. You can't force anything. You can't turn the ball over. You can't take chances because you can't leave points on the table, especially in that game. Now, I
love that. I love that. Touchdown
or check down. That's it.
If it's not there, check it down, dog.
Yeah, Tom Brady's been living and dying by that for 25 years in the NFL. So if it's not there, you can't take the chances. It's a different part of the field because mistakes leave points on the board. You know what I mean? And they needed those points in that situation. So, yeah, I mean, I think you do have to have a conversation with them. You have to keep coaching. You're still trying to get over the hump. He's not a Super Bowl winner. This isn't Tom. You know what I mean? This isn't a guy who you're still coaching Josh Allen. You're still going through his developments. You still have mountains you got to get over, and you can't stop coaching him because he's gotten you this far, especially when, again, you look at the last couple weeks and really going back to that Kansas City game, which I understood they won, but in the second half, they weren't doing anything in that ball game. So they've had a tough time here, man. This thing can get away from you quick. Also, knowing that the last thing that you want to do The last thing that you want to do.
I already know what you're going to say, and I agree with you 100%.
The last thing you want to do is find yourself in KC Mo in the playoffs. You don't want to go there. You want them coming upstate. Man. You want everybody coming upstate. You don't want to leave Orchard Park, all right? You want everybody coming to Brave the Storm. You find yourself checking into MCI. I was just there 3 weeks ago. If your baggage tag says MCI, you're in trouble, buddy. All right?
Facts. If you're pulling up to the airport and it says destination MCI,
you already know.
It's gonna be tough to get a W.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very, very tough for you. So knowing that, and that's kind of why I was conflicted on whether or not he even should have played this week. Because it's like, all right, if he has this Tommy John thing, like you really can't risk him. But at the same time, you can't lose ball game.
Let's talk about that for a second. For a guy that allegedly needs Tommy John, I don't know what they hit him with, but pregame, he looked completely fine.
Yeah.
He's throwing the ball with tons of velocity.
They hit him with that Balco.
They hit him with I don't know what they hit him with.
They got him with that Balco.
the regenerative shot or whatever.
Clear.
But he looked
that Armstrong. Hit him with that Tour de France. That Landis.
No, like he looked fine. His elbow, I was like, this guy has an elbow injury. He's throwing his joint all over the place. So
that Andy Pettit.
That was
hit him with that joint.
Hit him with that Andy Pettit. That Roger Clemens joint.
That Clemens.
That Clemens.
Hit him with that Clemens.
Man,
so you be all right, bro. You be all right. Take one of these. Might burn a little bit, but you'll be all right.
That's funny, man. And just so we're clear, we're not saying Josh Allen on the juice.
No,
but
not at all, man.
His elbow looked good across the board. I was shocked by going into the game. They were talking about him not playing. I thought it would be an issue, and it didn't look like an issue.
Didn't look like too much
whatsoever.
Of an issue to me.
So yeah, that was the big key coming into the year. It was like these guys have to go through Orchard Park. They don't want to go to Kansas City. They've already seen that movie. Anything can happen over there.
Anything.
Let's make sure it goes through Orchard Park. None of it good. Let's make sure it goes through Orchard Park, New York. And right now they're third in the division.
Yeah.
So it's a long way to go, but that's going to be something to keep an eye on if they don't get the number one seed and get the bye. We haven't even talked about the bye, the whole bye situation. So
that extra game adds in such another wrinkle of like, you know what I mean? Like you're not wrapping anything up early.
Yeah. It could be a we've seen teams get hot too, and you don't want to play that bye. You don't want to have that bye when you're rolling, but yeah.
It's week 10 and I feel I need to do this finally.
Okay.
Let's give it up to the Minnesota Vikings, man. Winning games that they have lost repeatedly over the last couple years. They were one of the worst close game teams in the NFL, I think, over the last 2 years under what's my guy's name? Zimmer.
Yeah.
Now one of the new was it Connolly? Is that his name? I don't even know. Kevin Connolly?
Yeah, Connolly. Yeah, that's it.
Is that Kevin Connolly?
Pretty sure it's Kevin. It's Kevin Connolly. Yeah.
Something Connolly or another. And Kirk Cousins. Hey, look, man, shout out to them. Kirk with that egregious pick the other day. It happens. We knew at some point Kirk was going to Kirk. And
Kevin O'Connell. Kevin Connolly's our boy from
Entourage. Right?
Entourage.
I knew one was the
yeah.
Shout out Kevin. Shout out
yeah.
E.
Shout out E. Yeah.
Shout out E. Shout out Kevin O'Connell though. Yeah. Look, man. We knew Kirk was going to have one, but it didn't end up costing them the game. These are the games that the Vikings have been losing over the last couple of years. We can't trash them for being the Vikings and not give them their flowers when they're winning. They're atop the NFC right now, tied with the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's
only
a good
losses to the Eagles.
That's a good football team. Justin Jefferson is playing at a different level. If you watch the end of that game, if you watch the fourth quarter, he was far and away the best player on the field. The catch that he made, I texted you guys as soon as he made that catch. Oh, that's the best catch I've ever seen in my entire life, especially in the situation. I think it was 4th and 13. Just ridiculous catch. The fact that he came down with that, high pointed it with one hand over a defender. And that team's playing well, man. They're playing well. That's a good team. They're gonna win the division. Good team. So shout out them. Shout out Kirk Cousins for playing winning football.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with you.
We've hesitated for too long, man. We haven't even talked about it.
It's not even about hesitating. It's more just I think sometimes I'm always thinking like big picture down the road, like who's going to win the NFC, who can really win it. Still don't know if I'm there with them. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Like I believe
you've been burned before.
I've been burned before. I'll bet on the Vikings. I think it's interesting that they're a small underdog against the Cowboys here coming up this week. That line opened at +2 for Minnesota.
In Minnesota or in?
I believe it's in Minnesota. So that's interesting with coming off the L for the Cowboys. But we know how Kirk gets down on pressure, and that's the team. That's the team that could get it on you.
Well, it's the prime. It's the fifth prime time. It's the prime time game. It's the Sunday.
It's America's game of the week.
America's game of the week.
That's the fifth prime time slot. So that's interesting. We'll see how they come off there. Dallas is going to be in a bounce back spot coming off a bad loss in Green Bay, blowing a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. So we'll see what they do there. But
how different do you think it is with them? And I mean, look, and I'm fine saying this. I know that you have a man crush on Rodgers, so maybe you're not there yet. But how different is it playing knowing that you don't have the pressure of anybody else in this division? Or do you think they're even thinking about that? Or
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, first of all, there's so many games clear. I don't think they're thinking about the division. I think they've passed. I think they believe they're going to win the division. And
Packers are 4-6, and they're 8-1, right? So they're 4 games back. Yeah.
How to win or get the best slot they can in. Yeah, of course, in the NFC. I know this, man. This is how quick the NFL changes. I heard someone talking. This was on the train on my way to New York, or on my way to Manhattan, I should say. And they said he's talking to the dude next to him, and he goes, are the Buccaneers the team to beat in the NFC? And will the Bills be able to win a playoff game? That was his I'm like, wow, 2 weeks ago. I'm just listening. I don't say anything to this dude. I'm just listening, right? Couple weeks go by. Now the Bucs are the team to beat in the NFC potentially. This is what this guy said. And we're worried about Buffalo being able to win one game in the playoffs. It's like this shit turns quickly. You just got to see the board with the clear eyes, especially if you're betting on these games week to week. Don't overreact to anything that happens on a week to week basis. But
let me ask you one last question on the Vikings, then, just to kind of gauge where you're at. All right, I'm going to go by the division winners. Would the Vikings beat this team? Assuming the Vikings have home field advantage, would they beat this division?
That's a big point. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they wouldn't for this one then. Could they go to Lincoln Financial then and win a playoff game against the Eagles?
No.
What about the Giants at home?
Yes, of course. The Giants are a fraud.
You got to go outside today.
I mean, it's just the truth.
Home field matters big time in this one. Seattle. If they're in Minnesota, can they beat Seattle in a playoff game?
In Minnesota?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, if they played right now today in the playoffs and the game was in Minnesota, that line is 3 and it's not moving.
Was it against Seattle where they shanked that kick?
Which one?
Minnesota kicker?
Way back in the day?
Yeah, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe.
Oh, you're talking about Blair Walsh?
Yeah, Blair Walsh. Wasn't that against the Seahawks?
That was against Seattle.
Yeah. The Blair Walsh kick, yeah.
Right now, that line would be 3, like on a neutral type of thing, maybe 2.5, and it would be a really close game. I'd purely take Minnesota just because the game was in
Seattle. In Seattle, you're taking Seattle.
If that game is in Seattle, I'm on the Seahawks.
Okay. And then
which is interesting because now you have to don't forget about the Seahawks. How many rookies they're playing on the defensive side of the ball?
For sure.
Now in the playoffs,
and on offense, Kenneth Walker. I mean, they're relying on rookies.
Well, Walker, I don't care about the running back being a rookie. I'm talking about like DBs and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be something interesting to follow when it gets in big playoffs on the
Justin
road.
Jefferson.
Yeah, like that's gonna be different. Yeah, that's gonna be a different atmosphere.
And Hawkinson.
It'll be interesting to see. Because, I think the Seahawks are legitimate, but that'll be something to keep an eye on with rookies playing in big spots like that.
Last, Tampa Bay. Tom Brady versus Kirk Cousins. Could you go against Tom Brady against Kirk Cousins in a playoff game?
In Minnesota, indoors,
and anywhere.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why we're not talking about them, because it's like any 8-1 team, typically you're like, yeah, I'll take them. They're still like,
you're still taking on the $5-5 against them. So I guess
they have
the
Vikings roster. Like, for example, if you swapped Kirk and Aaron Rodgers, that team wins the Super Bowl. Like, that's how talented that roster is in Minnesota, so especially on the offensive.
You're saying Kirk's the problem. Kirk holds them back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, is he not the weakest link on that offensive team? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, Dalvin Cook's a great back. They're loaded at the wide receiver position. They're a big the skill they have around him is a big reason why he's been able to play as solid as he's played. No question. Yeah. You couldn't. Hey man, if you put Kirk Cousins in a situation that doesn't have that much talent and a good young offensive coach,
we already know.
We've seen it before,
mediocre,
right?
Yeah,
so
mediocre.
He's able to thrive because they have a lot of talent on the edge matters. Like, simple as that.
So long story short, I'm gonna give.
How about this?
How about this? On the Vikings is a 6.
I'm gonna tell you this.
That's a strong 6.
You put Kirk Cousins on the Packers.
Yeah,
they have 1 or 2 wins.
They only have 4. So
yeah, I mean, but I'm talking about like they'd be getting mashed.
Yeah, for sure.
They wouldn't be doing anything on offense. I mean, they're not doing anything now.
Would they put up more than 9 against the Lions?
No. Be 7.
Aaron Rodgers is worth 2 points in 2000.
But what I'm telling you, man, if you were to put Aaron Rodgers on the Vikings, forget it. Justin Jefferson. Speaking of non-quarterback MVPs, Justin Jefferson might be the MVP. You swap out Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. But talk to me about your non-quarterback MVP. I just went through the list. Just so we're clear, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The first 8 people on the list are quarterbacks.
Of course.
So all the way down to Tom Brady at plus 5,000.
Don't even tell me who's 9th because who is 9th actually? Because I wonder if it's my guy.
Okay, yeah, Tyreek Hill is 9 at plus 5,000. Then we got Geno, Justin Herbert. Then we got Justin Jefferson.
It's actually disrespectful that I didn't consider Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead. So give me yours. Your non-quarterback.
I think for me, so it came down to 2 guys, and I had to go with Derrick Henry. I think we're long overdue at this point. They're 6-3. They're first in their division. Tannehill came back, right? Or is he still out?
Tannehill came back.
Tannehill came back, but they had to play 2 games with Malik Willis, who absolutely, positively is not ready to play quarterback in the NFL. And all you have to do is go back and look at that. Was it the Sunday night game that they played? Was that Sunday night or a Monday? That was a Sunday night game, right?
No, Sunday night. Yeah,
yeah. Guys, just
the moment was too big.
Yeah, like way too big. He was trying to. He looked at one read and just run, tuck and run. It was just too big, too fast. And during that time, they obviously really relied on Derrick Henry. He's got 940 yards, 8 touchdowns, averaging 4.7 yards per carry. He is 100% their offense. Has been their offense for 4 years as this team's been really good. And without them, you want to talk about teams that have 1 or 2 wins. This is a 1 or 2 win ball club without Derrick Henry. So for me, it was close between him and Saquon. But I decided to give the edge to Derrick Henry in this situation because I just think it's different. You watch late game situations that they have a lead, forget about it.
Yeah, I feel you, but I had to go with Cheetah Tyreek Hill. The elevation that Tua is able to do. Tua's in an awesome situation. The offense that they're running over there is sensational, next level. The amount of motion and pre-snap stuff that McDaniels runs for him, or is it McDaniel? McDaniel.
We talked about this. It's McDaniel.
Yeah, McDaniel runs. The black dude runs.
The brother is McDaniel. Remember, the white boys plural. The brother is singular. We talked about this. We covered this last week.
The amount of motion and offense that McDaniel runs for Cheetah and Tua, and to get those guys open is awesome.
Cheetah is like a wet dream for Mike McDaniel, right?
Yes.
It's just like, oh my God.
Yeah,
the things amazing. I can do. Yeah.
Listen to this. This is his project right now. He has 81 catches for 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's projected to have 138 catches for 1,952 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's Tyreek Hill's projected numbers. Could go over 2,000 yards with the extra ball game. So I got to go Tyreek Hill just because the impact that he's made on that offense has been ridiculous.
So let me ask you this, and I have no argument with that at all. There's no real right or wrong in this, right?
Yeah.
Which team gets worse if you take that guy off?
What do you mean?
So who's worse, the Dolphins without Tyreek or the Titans without Derrick Henry?
Well, I believe in Mike McDaniel so much, the brother, and that's calling the plays in Miami, that I would have to say Derrick Henry, right? I think that they have enough weapons over there with Waddle and Gesicki that they could make it work. Gesicki's
nice.
solid,
He's
bro.
Solid, real solid.
Yeah, Gesicki's solid. So they have enough weapons over there where they can keep it rolling. If you take Derrick Henry off of that, what's the thing? Ryan Tannehill's bad, in my opinion. He's not very good.
I think in a lot of opinions.
He gets extraordinarily worse if you take Derrick Henry off the field.
Like exponentially.
Exponentially worse.
Like force multiplier.
Yes. The fact that you have to worry so much about Henry and Ryan Tannehill does a lot of his damage off play action.
Yes.
Derrick Henry is more important to the Titans, no question, across the board. But they're both such big time weapons. It's like it's like, you know what? It's a perfect situation. It's just like if you took Saquon Barkley right now off of the Giants, Daniel Jones, is in bad shape.
I think those got to be your top three guys, right? Henry, Hill, Barkley. Again, no wrong answer. You said Hill's on pace for 143 catches. So that'd be tied for third most in a single season.
Yeah, 138.
138. Okay, so that'd be fourth most. It's Michael Thomas had
that Michael Thomas year. No one talks about, by the way. It's insane.
Cooper Kupp at 149.
Yeah, it's
can't guard Mike. Cooper Kupp had 145.
Was that last year? Yeah, 145.
145. In 2002, had 143. So he'd be right behind for 138. I'm not playing.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, you need to go look up a guy that played wide receiver for the Colts one day or another, and has a son that plays wide receiver at Ohio State at the moment.
Yeah.
And if you don't know why, you shouldn't say this gentleman's name.
That's right.
Don't type it in. Don't type it in your browser, but go ask somebody face to face. Make sure nobody's recording. Turn the music up like in the mob movies, and then ask.
Don't go to West. Don't go to West Philly. Listen, bro.
Don't go to West Philly and ask about this guy.
You think it's a game? We don't even say it. Like, I'm not even playing. I wouldn't be caught dead, literally. I'm good.
Go look it up. Go get on the internet. He used to play.
It's crazy, like how he does. Like, he's one of the most prolific wide receivers in the history of the NFL.
Somebody commented the shooter.
Chill. Hey, delete that. Chill. I got kids.
Okay, this is hilarious. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, go look up a prolific wide receiver that played for the Colts that has a son on Ohio State. That should be plenty of for you to figure out. So
not Reggie Wayne.
Not Reggie. And it's not Reggie Wayne, correct?
It's not Austin Collie.
Yeah, it's not Dallas Clark. All right,
shout out Dallas
Clark. Leave it there.
Oh
man. So yeah, I got to go with Tyreek Hill, my non-quarterback MVP. He's been sensational. I'm not mad at Derrick Henry or Saquon. So
not at all.
We'll leave it at that. All right.
Do we got 5 for Fields?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
Just a weekly Fields love fest.
Yes. Talk to me,
man. So great.
30-point L's. I love it.
Love it. Hey, look, it's just great. I don't remember waking up every week feeling like this, ready to watch the Chicago Bears, not caring about our win or lose, just knowing that I got a guy. We have a guy, man. We got a guy at the quarterback position. We got a guy that's making plays. We got a guy with 60-yard touch. We got a guy who's actually unguardable right now. And just wait till the talent around him is upgraded. The defense is disgusting. Actually disgusting defensively is what I would call us. But on offense, man, like, the Chicago Bears lead the NFL in points over the last month.
Yeah. Yes. We're a juggernaut. I already said
juggernaut on offense.
We're a juggernaut on offense.
Offensively, we're a juggernaut. We're putting up 30 left and right.
Week to week, we're putting up 30 points and losing. Those are perfect L's to me. I know that there's people out there that are talking about losing affects the quarterback. And no, what affects the quarterback more is not having any talent and having to do everything himself.
Yeah,
that's what he'll forget about losing games year 2. He's learning a lot more than he's getting affected by losing some of these games. So
if we're checking every box, baby.
And this is the thing. This is not short fields, defense scoring touchdowns. The offense is putting together drives and he's making plays and scoring touchdowns. This is not the defense making stuff easy for the offense and we're going in and scoring points. We're making 10, 12 play drives and finishing them off with TDs. We haven't seen that from the Chicago Bears or a Bears quarterback in a long, long time. So
and on third down, we're lethal.
There's people talking about he's not throwing the ball well enough, and in the fourth quarter they went one. The team, the roster stinks.
Shut up. Who's he throwing the ball to? Shut up.
Yes, we just talked about how much.
Who is that? Like Weaver and those guys?
Yeah, bro, it's ridiculous.
Listen, man, all these dinosaurs that have been around forever that don't bring. Shut up. Shut up. Yeah, I don't want to hear any of that, dude. There's no way you can watch Justin Fields over the last 4 or 5 games and come away with negativity. Facts. Understanding who he's playing around, understand who he's throwing the ball to, understand who's protecting him. Like, come on, man. These guys are bums. He's throwing it. We were excited about the return of Byron Pringle. What are we doing? What? I don't want to get out of here with this shit, man. Facts. Listen, the kid is making plays. He's running when he needs to run. He's throwing when he needs to throw. He's out here pointing out receivers in the field and making plays on third down. Come on, man.
He's making plays.
We put up 30 points again. We're leading the NFL in scoring over the last month. What else do you want? We've been begging for points in this town for 30 years.
No question.
Come on, man. I'm sick of these people. Come on, man.
No
what
question.
What else do you need to see? The defense is fucking brutal.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're literally we have an opportunity to set ourselves up. Remember when the Bulls could have really tanked, and Luka was on the board, and we fucked around and won like 9 straight or some shit, and people were happy. We won like 9 of 11. Nikola was going crazy.
Yeah,
he had like this insane stretch where we won like 9 of 10 games.
That wasn't during Luka though. Luka came way before the Bulls got Vooch. But I remember what you're.
No, not Vooch. Bobby Portis hit him in the
Mirotic.
Mirotic went ballistic.
Going ballistic, yeah.
They won like 9 of 11. And they're like, the Bulls, they're playing well. This is great. And it's like, you guys are so blind because we should be losing all these games with an opportunity for a guy like Luka Doncic on the board. Trae Young is on the board. There was a lot of franchise changers that we missed out on and ended up picking 7th, of course. And we know how that goes. This is the same.
Was that the Laurie year?
It's either Laurie or Wendell, one of the two. I can't remember.
It might have is Laurie, Wendell, or Kobe. I think it was Wendell. I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Wendell. God, so this is this that's the spot though. That's how it looks to me. I'm so happy to lose 30-point offensive explosions, and we lose them, and we just climb up the draft board. In a perfect world, we would show up in the NFL draft with a top 5 pick, $1 trillion in cap space, which it looks like we're going to have. And then we go let Poles fill out the roster as he sees fit. And we show up next year with basically a brand new football team.
Yeah.
With a quarterback that has experience, with the few guys that we're going to keep in Claypool, Mooney, Kmet, Juice, Herbert. That's the perfect situation. And for people that don't see that, I don't really understand it. You're worried about the Bears losing in a season where we were never going to win?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sure.
I just
don't. The Vikings are 8-1. We're not getting in. We're not getting in NFC playoff spots.
We we gain nothing by winning these football games. I don't understand.
And I saw some people tweeting like, "Oh, if you look at the free agent class, it's weak." It's like, listen, you're looking at the top. The Bears aren't necessarily going to say, "Give us the top free agent at every single position." When you have 30, 35 spots to fill, like a lot of these guys are, for lack of a better term, filler, right? But like you need a lot of filler. So like that money isn't just to pay the number one defensive end or the number one. They're talking about that with the receiver. Like, look at the receivers on the board. I said, number one, receivers are available. Receivers are available in trade every single year, right? So you can go out and you can trade for one. Number two, yeah, I get it. Who was my man's that they had that's available? Used to play not Rager, Algalore, right? Algalore is better than any receiver we have on our roster, not named Claypool or Mooney, right? But you're talking about filling out multiple different positions. That's where that money's gonna go. So yeah, man, trust the process. This is exactly how you want it to go.
These are perfect Sundays for me.
And we end up with a top 5 pick and some quarterback thirsty team that thinks they can get CJ Stroud or thinks that they can get
we move
one
back.
of these guys. We move back and we get multiple picks.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you 100%.
Still get a good player. So
I'm going to Bears Jets. So I went to the Giants game. Now I got to go to Bears Jets in a couple weeks here at the Meadowlands. I might not even be in town now that I say that. Actually, no, I'll be in town. I got to come back early that Sunday morning. But yeah, I'm gonna go see Bears Jets, and I'm gonna be hoping that we lose the game 47-44.
Yep.
Like that's it. That's what it is. So like it or not, that's what the Bears should be doing. All right, let's move over to this NBA real quick because I got like 10 minutes tops. My bad. I gotta go to work. Gotta go do some work. NBA really quick. The West surprises. The Utah Jazz are at the top, along with they're third right now, but they're along with Portland and the Denver Nuggets. Talk to me about those guys. How you feel about them? What is Danny Ainge gonna do? Does he end up blowing it up, or what do we do here with the Utah Jazz, who've been playing really well? How do we feel about Portland? You know, we've been rough on Portland for the last 5 years.
Yeah. No, so I'll start with the Denver Nuggets. Saw the Denver Nuggets in person on Sunday. Offensive efficiency, that team is loaded.
Michael Porter.
Yeah, Michael
if
Porter.
his back is good,
his back is good. Yeah, that's a big if. Back, knee, among other things. But yeah, when he's playing, he's a bucket. Jamal Murray's back. So he's doing his thing. And obviously Jokic didn't even have a great scoring game, but watching him just control the floor in person, like that team's going to be good. Utah, obviously been a ton of fun. Same thing with Portland. I think those teams are going to fall a little bit, but look, man, we're 15, 16 games in at this point, and those teams are still playing really well. So I think that they are legit. But like I said a couple of weeks ago, some teams are going to rise, right? Like I don't think Golden State's going to stay in 10th, even though I do think they have a lot of problems. I don't think they're going to stay in 10th. And I think the Clippers will start to make a little bit of a run too. But yeah, man, those teams are legitimate, man. Absolutely. Like Utah especially.
Yeah, they just are playing really unselfish.
Yeah.
Smooth the ball. Ball's moving all over the place. They play the Knicks tonight.
Yeah.
The Knicks give up the most three-point attempts in the NBA. They're having trouble rebounding. That would be a spot I'm looking at on Utah, just because I don't see how they keep up on the offensive end as well.
For sure.
So stay tuned on that. But
I think
go ahead.
No, I was going to go to the East, but go ahead.
No, I was really quick on the West before we go to the East. People talk about Chris Paul being finished. He's not that important. That Phoenix Suns team is in shambles down the stretch every game when he's not around.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. Devin Booker, he's a pure two, man.
Yeah.
You can't ask him to run the show and do things. He's just not available for that. That's not his game. It's not what he does. So, and when Chris Paul retires, they're going to need to go get someone else to run alongside Devin. That's a pure point guard.
I mean, getting a point guard completely changed their entire landscape of their team. So if you're sitting here saying it doesn't matter, this team was a lottery team before Chris Paul and had the best record in the West Conference after he got there. So if that's what you say, yeah, you're not watching basketball because of Devin Booker. And that's not a knock on Booker. It just is. It's just who he is.
It's just not his game.
Yeah.
It's like asking Vooch to play defense. It's just not his game. Like that's it. It is what it is, right? So I think that's interesting because there was still some flack that he's too old. He's not going to make an impact like he was or has throughout his career. It's very clear that he still makes a huge impact because they were cruising. Going into the year, it was like, is Phoenix going to be solid still, or do we have to worry? They come out and are really good. Even when Ayton goes down, as long as Chris was out there, they were fine. Now Chris goes down, they're struggling. Yeah. So that's what that is. All right, well, yeah, let's go. Let's go to the East, and then we'll get out of here. Or the West. So, the East, my fault. Yeah.
East, yeah. So my question, so you said, takeaways or whatever. The East is a two-man race, right? Like, should we
huh?
Yeah, I think that because you're looking at Milwaukee, I understand they lost last night, have lost their last two, but they still don't have Middleton back, but have overall looked really good. Boston has been a juggernaut. I think offensively, they're on a historic pace offensively. We both really like Cleveland, but they got some late game stuff that they need to figure out. If you look at they've lost 4 straight. They've all been close games.
Yeah.
And it's all been since Garland got back. I think we both are high on the Garland-Mitchell combination, but I just think in the fourth quarter, they got some things that they got to figure out. But you're looking at the Boston and Milwaukee thing. Again, knowing Milwaukee is still missing Middleton and he's going to be back. Regardless of how you feel about him, he is a difference maker for their ball club. It's looking like the Boston and Milwaukee show.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I do want to show some love to Atlanta, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Boston offensively is insane. They are extremely efficient. Tatum has been playing out his mind. I don't want to understate how improved Marcus Smart is on the offensive end. Like, he used to be a don't shoot it, don't do anything, play D, bring a bunch of energy.
They're not gone, but you said they needed another guy.
Bring a bunch of energy type of thing.
Yeah.
Dude, he offensively is an issue. He's another weapon that they have on the offensive end. So, yeah, I mean, they have 2 dudes that can absolutely score 35 at any moment. And then they go and get Brogdon, and he's adding 14, runs the show. I love Boston on the offensive side of the ball. So, and then of course they have a ton of guys that can shoot it. Derek White has been closing games in some situations.
They just got a lot of guys. Not for the looks. Pritchard, White. Like you go beyond those guards. Like they got a lot of depth.
You know what's funny?
They need Time Lord back.
You know what's funny? Yeah, well,
massively they need Time Lord back. They're relying on a lot of Horford.
Well, they're relying on a lot of offense.
Yeah,
they're not getting stops like they typically would. They're just trying to run people off the floor.
They're 20th in defense this year as opposed to being first or second last year.
So they're just trying to run people off the floor, and it's been working because they have so much firepower and are so efficient on offense. But yeah, that's the case. I do want to talk about Atlanta. Well, really quick before I get off of Boston, this is the difference in like squads, right? So like coming into the year, we're like, man, the Clippers are deep. They're deep, but this Boston team is deep and fits. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like everyone is solidified in their role. There's not a lot of question marks on what's going on.
The hierarchy is established.
The hierarchy is very established. Boston is deep and it fits. For example, they know who's going to score and they know who's going to sit on the wing and hang out and wait. Grant Williams is just going to wait to shoot the ball in the corner. Derek White has been coming in, and when those guys need a rest. Derek White's not afraid to put up shots in big spots.
Never.
He's shown that. So, but he knows. Like he's like,
Derek White will let that fly.
Derek White will let it fly.
Derek White will let that fly. Which in his role, because he's not crucial to what they do, when you put him in there, it's like that's your job, bro. Like, yeah, you can't be scared. You can't be scared to take those shots. When we put you in the game, 100% your role is to take and make those shots. And if you can't take them, there's no point in you playing. Yeah. That goes back to the playoffs last year. He was doing the same thing. We talked about that a lot. Derek White, not scared, ever.
Not scared. So that's the difference between a team like Boston and a team like the Clippers for me. But really quick, before we get out of here, let's talk about the Hawks.
Yeah.
I was worried on how this was going to work. Is Trae Young and DeJounte Murray going to work in the backcourt? How do they get this done? How do they do it? And they've been doing it very efficiently is how they've been doing it.
Yes.
DeJounte Murray is just so fucking efficient with the rock in his hand that it almost doesn't matter when Trae starts getting into this bullshit mode where he's just firing up all this garbage and he shoots 30% on the night, because DeJounte is just so efficient and keeps shit under control for them. And you see it very clearly too when Trey goes to the bench and DeJounte gets to run this shit with the bench guys, and he's like the real focal point.
True point guard, yeah.
Yeah, man. They just play really, really well with him up top on the bench. And then when Trey's not shooting 30% and he's shooting 45, 55%, they look lethal. They're really, really fun out in transition. And we talked about it before we got on. Andre Hunter is a monster.
Nice.
I shouldn't say monster. That's too much, but he's very good.
Yeah.
Plays in his role, gets a lot of open shots because DeJounte and Trey are getting him the rock. John Collins is still running the floor, and then Clint Capella is literally just rebounding and putting
Clint Capella
up.
Understands what his role is in this life.
Yes.
Run the floor, grab rebounds, block shots, slam everything. It's the JaVale McGee blueprint. It's the Daniel Gafford blueprint. It's funny. I was at Bulls Pelicans and I saw Jackson Hayes on the bench, and I'm like, that's the blueprint that this guy should have followed. If you're one of these hyper athletic long guys that can run the floor, you'll make hundreds of millions of dollars doing what Capella and McGee and all these guys have done before you. So yeah, that team fits well. For a team that had a lot of fit issues and has had fit issues over the last couple of years, you're right. DeJounte has come in 100% stabilized that thing. It gets the ball out of erratic Trae Young's hands, right? You know those games where Trae can't be your lead playmaker? It gets the ball, and Trae's going to get his regardless. So if anybody was worried when Murray was going to come over that it was going to affect Trae's usage, or Trae is going to get his shots. Trust me. He will make sure if he's playing minutes, he's going to get his shots. And he will play minutes, so he's going to get his. But to your point, DeJounte stabilizes everything for him. He's a good defender, takes a lot of defensive pressure off Trae. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, facts.
He is able to guard those ball handlers on offense, those premier guys on offense, so that Trae doesn't get caught up in that, which allows Trae to free up his time to do what Trae does best, which is score the basketball and make plays.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Big Nick the Quick, always bringing the heat, man. Sean Little, Big Nick the Quick. No Catch Us Sports Talk via Chicago. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We'll see y'all next week. See ya.